I'm heading out, man. You want to ride?
No, I got my car, but I actually really need to go to the bathroom.
Dude, are you okay?
I am definitely buzzed.
Yeah.
I think I will take this and I will take that ride home.
If there's one thing every car guy hates, it's cleaning the garage. Do you want to take most of the time and hassle out of that job? Then call Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Agnes and her crew will have your garage, shop, basement, or even your porch looking great all the time. With unique patterns and designs, plus the ability to incorporate your logo or any artwork, your space will never have looked better. Installation is done in 1 day, guaranteed, and Zone Garage offers a 20-year warranty on the top coat. Their coatings are durable, anti-slipped, and impact resistant. Give them a call at 570-856-6067. That's 570-856-6067 for Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey.
Have you joined the fastest growing fantasy motorsports app yet? On Grid Rival, you can join leagues with your friends and manage your own fantasy team on what race fans are calling, hands down, the best fantasy motorsport app out there. F1 and MotoGP leagues are now live for the 2021 season. Joining a league on Grid Rival will make every race more exciting, more engaging, and of course, more competitive. Download Grid Rival now on your iPhone or Android smartphone. Grid Rival is an unofficial application and not associated with Formula One, MotoGP, or any of their athletes.
Welcome to the 34 Motorsports Product Showcase. We're proud to offer the full line of Simpson Racing safety products. The Shark Speedway is a perfect brain bucket to keep your melon as safe as possible. We carry every model and size of Hans device, and these have saved countless lives. The Hybrid Pro Lite is an alternative to the Hans device and is just as effective. The DNA 3-layer suit offers maximum protection when things get hot. And hey dude, those comfy shoes won't help one bit when things go south. Keep those hands ready to work with a pair of Vortex FIA gloves meeting every current standard. From 5 to 7 points, we carry every one of the Simpson harnesses, keeping your rear end right where it should be. Keep all your gear clean and together with the helmet and FHR bag, and always be ready to hop in a race car. Visit 34motorsports.com and order today. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another night of iRacing action here on the National Racing Network. My name is Chris Graham. It is a pleasure to have you hanging along with us here as practice is just getting finished up from the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache in Sao Paulo, Brazil, commonly known as Interlagos. Looking forward to a really fun night of racing here. Let's bring in my co-pilot for the evening, Mr. James Watson. And I'll tell you what, James, first visit for the National Racing Network here to Interlagos, but it's a very familiar layout to all these drivers. It's an F1 layout. Doesn't mean this place is going to be easy to get around in these PM18s, though.
No, a lot of us have turned a lot of laps here in other games, namely the F1 game. So this is a track we all know and love, and I know there were a lot of people excited, me included, when we saw this track was on the schedule. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking to see what type of racing this track puts on, especially how everyone handles the usual draft lockiness of the oval parts.
Yeah, it does have a lot of similarities to racing on an oval here. You come out of the, I guess, next to last corner, and you're basically locked up tight the entire way down the front stretch. Get through the Senna S, and then you've got another big long stretch where everybody's tightly packed up. And then you have this kind of infield section that we're watching Ed Samborski run through. this is a section where you just got to hit your marks and try to set yourself up for the next passing opportunity.
Oh yeah, if you don't bottle the car up through the infield section and keep close, you might have a chance to get some great position. Here's something that's a little interesting to ponder. I'm gonna say this in the hopes I start some sort of war. Is Interlagos a roval? Go.
I don't think so. I understand where the sentiment comes from. However, that doesn't change the fact that, no, I don't think Interlagos would classify as a...
It's definitely not, but it's fun to think about. And fun to see if there's someone that does believe the opposite.
Yeah, that's... I understand where you could say that, because it definitely has sections of it that drives like an oval, and then there's sections that drive very, very much like a road course here. And you'll see the names come across the bottom of your screen here. As the sectors go up, you'll get to see the drivers start to setting their times. And I'll tell you what, James, we have the tightest points battle, at least in terms of depth, that I can ever remember having here on NRN. Ted Burns, John Bedifer, separated by 4, count them 4 points heading into tonight's race. Everett Paddock is only 150 back at this point. We're going to start counting the drop weeks after this week's races. David Porcelli is right there. Even Nagisa Yoshikawa is not that far out over the 1,000-point mark inside the top 5. We really are going to have some pretty wild stuff coming as we get late in the season.
I'm looking forward to see how the championship flipped on its head, because let's not forget, a lot of our top contenders have had some absolute clunkers. Like, Summit Point was a drop for pretty much everyone in the top 10. So you get that out, you have another great run added to it. I know Richmond was a disaster for a lot of the contenders as well. So the championship is going to be significantly different here in about 2 weeks when those races are dropped off. So I'm looking forward to see how it looks.
Yeah, it's going to get very, very interesting to see what weeks get dropped and how for these drivers as we continue to follow along here with Ed Samborski. 1 minute 28.591 seconds is the lap time of record for Mr. Samborski. And tell you what, Ted Burns, Everett Paddock, David Porcelli, John Bedifer, no surprises. Top 5 is comprised of your top 4 in points and the guy with the number 1 on the front of the race car.
Yep, you can't really get more chalk than this, that's for sure.
As we say that, Graham Sanders with the number 2 plate jumps up inside the top 5. That's going to knock Bedifer down to 6th. Jay Vigo putting in a very good lap. That's going to have him up to the 7th position. Then you get the rest of the top 10. Nicholas Daly, Chris Preston, Cowlin Martin. Cowlin Martin, that's a name we've never seen before here. What should be a week of chalk may not be lining up that way. Looking at some of the names towards the bottom of the list here, a very impressive field, we'll say it that way. How about 38-16 for the I rating?
I've seen his name before. I want to say Cowlin is another geodesic driver, but I may be talking out of my ass again, so don't quote me on that.
The comments starting to roll in on your question here, James. The first one,
yes.
Michael Joseph, James is high. Stephen Thompson saying, it could be a roval if you create an oval by cutting out the entire middle sector. Yeah, I would say probably middle 3 sectors, but yeah. That's the part that I say it's not a roval, because there's not actually an oval to drive that the roval is in the middle of.
But it is, I think there is an oval layout here. It's just hard, it's either hardly used or hasn't been used in quite some time.
Well, qualifications are over. Ed Samborski will be your pole sitter here this evening. Thank you for the pronunciation, by the way. That is Kalen Martin that will be starting in the 8th position here this evening. We'll get to the full starting lineup here in just a moment as cars get ready to roll out on to the racetrack. Kalen is a geodesic driver, and he said, thank you for nailing his name. All right, we'll take that. Thank you very much. We appreciate you hanging out and watching here with us.
Hey, I remembered something correctly this time. Hooray.
Love that glorious, glorious watch time. Field starting to trickle in here, so let's pick up our starting grid as they'll get ready to form up here. They still have a little bit of time to get out onto the grid anyway. Not a ton, but a little bit anyway. Let's get you a look at the starting lineup for tonight's race. Ed Samborski is going to line up alongside Graham Sanders. How about 9 thousandths of a second separating your top two? Game on at the front of the field. Everett Paddock, David Porcelli on row number 2. John Bedifer and Ted Burns on row number 3. Nicholas Daly, Kayla Martin, row 4. Jay Vigo and Chris Preston on row number 5. Kylo Ciacelli, Frank Wynn on row number 6. Row 7 will have Andrew Berry and Nagisa Yoshikawa. Enzo Johansson from Canada and Brian Labarge out of Almost Canada making up row number 8. Row 9, Steve Jenks and Rod Eskew. Row number 10, Russ Addy and Mike Collar. Row 11, J.W. Miller and Christopher Chitterling. And all alone in row number 12 will be the Mid-South's Michael Carpenter. 23 cars, 46 making up the total entry list here tonight. And this is the fairly short pace lap here at the front of the field as well. Basically, they're going to make the hard right-hand hook, loop it down through the left-hander, do the same thing once again, back up the hill to the right-hander, down the hill to the left-hander. And then this is that part of the section, James, where you talk about starting to get draft locked a little bit here. How close do you have to be to start to feel that as you come out of this last big sweeping pair of lefts?
Probably seem to be about a second, maybe a second and a half is the maximum you could be to deal with that. Otherwise, a little longer than that, you're pretty much SOL.
Well, we will see what it's going to look like here. Field side by side behind the iRacing safety car. You'll see the Porsche make that hard left-hand turn and head down pit lane. Field will be under the control of Ed Samborski and Graham Sanders. This place is incredibly fast through this section of the racetrack, down through the legendary Senna S-curves. This race is set up to be absolutely wild here tonight. Green flags in the air, 20 laps the distance. How about 3 wide already towards turn 1?
Oh dear. Oh my. Oh no.
Looks like so far everybody getting through cleanly, but we have a wad of race cars back here. A little bit of trouble towards the back of the pack. Brian Labarge having an issue. He is going to fall all the way back to 23rd, losing 2 or 3 spots in the process. Almost contact back there. David Porcelli, John Bedifer going to continue to fight here. Porcelli in the white and orange number 7. A little bit of a change in paint job there for Porcelli. Oh, Mike Collar also having an issue here early in this one. Porcelli getting squeezed out. A lot of geodesic cars here at the front of this field. Not really a surprise to see that going on tonight early, James.
Nope. Yeah, it's going to be really tight. There's not a whole lot of room around here you can get. That's the problem. The infield sections, it's ridiculously narrow. It's almost like it's hard enough to get these cars through there too wide. I can't imagine the land yachts that are the F1 cars. It's insane.
Let's go back here and take a look at the issue that Mike Carpenter and Mike Collar had here on the opening lap. This was towards the back of the pack. Carpenter trying to get up the inside. Slides a little bit wide, makes contact. Little right side romance. Enzo Johansson also having an issue here, but we'll keep our eyes up towards the front of the field. It's only a quarter of a second separating Ed Samborski and Graham Sanders. Old Samborski off the racetrack just a little bit. That's going to allow Sanders to peek down the inside. Samborski will have the back inside run through the left. I absolutely did not Lance Stroll you guys, by the way. Top 3 battle raging on. The Helms Deep State checking in. A lot of geodesic cars at the front. How interesting. No, we didn't miss anything at turn 1. At least I don't think we did. Let me see. I'll check the marker here. Oh, big trouble. Yeah, okay, maybe I did screw it up, guys. David Porcelli, Kalen Martin having an issue here at turn number 1. Oh, yeah, I absolutely Lance Strolled you there. All right, couple of cars making contact. Everybody's going to get moving again. Next car that went around, that was Enzo Johansson. Janssen? Enzo, I'll get your name right eventually.
So that was the big trouble for him later.
Yeah, Graham Sanders getting around Ed Samborski for the race lead here. We'll show you this one. Everett Paddock going to be right there as well, but Sanders able to use the positioning to hold on to the top spot, and he's now open to 4/10 of a second lead over Ed Samborski. Everett Paddock setting the fastest lap of the race last time by to 1 minute 29.091. A little bit back in the pack here. Ted Burns, John Badiford going to go side by side all the way through the Senna S. Ooh, they almost make contact right at the bottom of the hill. That's going to let Badiford through. Jay Vigo's going to follow the line through. That drops Ted Burns back to the 6th position. Nicholas Daly going fastest lap last time by. Haven't we seen this fight of Ted Burns versus Geodesic before?
I was going to say, it's becoming an awesome little rivalry. Like, everywhere you seem to turn, it's always Ted around another geodesic car. It's really cool to see, honestly.
Yes, and I don't know that it's necessarily a friendly rivalry. I mean, we've seen these guys make pretty big contact at Summit Point this season, but it doesn't change the fact that maybe it's the color of the car. I don't know what, but Ted Burns cannot get away from the geodesic guys.
Maybe it's a Highlander thing. Maybe it's because both cars are black and gold. There can only be one.
Interesting comment coming in here from Michael Joseph. Let's bring it up and show you things at the front of the field. I don't think Edward will be able to repass Graham with how much downforce Edward is running. How does that go into your setup philosophy for a race like this, James? Knowing that sometimes you're going to need the downforce, and sometimes you're going to have to be able to close back up if you don't keep the lead.
Yeah, the biggest problem you face with setup building, and especially with this car, you have to find the right balance. Like, you want to have as little downforce as you can for the big straightaways, but you also need wing for the tight corners in the infield section. So trying to figure out that balance is the hardest thing you can do. Sometimes some guys are able to nail the balance better or able to work with a slightly more unbalanced car. Sometimes your setup works, sometimes it doesn't. As Captain Obvious as that sound.
We'll give it to you though, James. And it really is a matter of if you add a couple ticks of downforce to get you through those corners, you're losing a couple of ticks of top speed. So ultimately, you're trying to balance out where you lose the time. It's basically a game of how do I lose the least? You're going to lose time somewhere having to slow down.
Precisely. And so if you're running a high downforce setup, you have basically your best recourse is to get through the infield section and all the tight corners.
Oh, what a
my
shot
Lord,
up the
what a
inside!
move! Oh!
Ted Burns way overcooks the corner. He's going to fall back to the 8th position. Chris Preston coming through for 7th. Nicholas Daly through for 6th. Oh, that was so ballsy. We'll show it again.
Oh, he almost pulled it off. Look at that. Almost had it.
I think the lockup there was actually in one of the Geodesic cars. Oh, and now Ted Burns having an issue going around. And he is going to go way to the back of the pack.
Wow.
Take a look at this one here now. Trying to make the draft run down the hill. Oh, he got hit. Punterino. I believe that may have been Kylo Ciacelli. It was Kylo Ciacelli getting past Ted Burns. Little bit of Punterino there at the front of the field. That's going to drop him back to 20th. Tight battle here. Rosati and Enzo Johansson. Johansson? Enzo, tell me how to say your name, bud.
Can we see a chopper view of that wreck? Because the contact looked really weird.
Yes, we can. Let's take a look and go overhead here.
Is it me or did that look like a little bit of net code?
It may have been a little bit. But again, I'll say it's kind of the same thing. A bit optimistic as Russ Addy now goes around.
Everybody's looping it. Good Lord.
Yeah, we're having some big-time problems here. In fact, Ted Burns is on pit lane, so there is damage to that machine that will have to be fixed. Couple of good battles going on here. We'll pick this one up. Frank Wynn, David Porcelli fighting for the 9th position.
Thank you, Mike.
Not a lot of surprise. No change at the front of the field as Ted Burns gets back out onto the racetrack after a 31.97 second pit stop. He is still on the lead lap, but not by much. And obviously, with not getting a caution flag, he's going to need some help.
Yeah, this has been a rough last few weeks for Teddy, that's for sure.
Yeah, and that's one of those, we talk about the point standings a little bit here. You don't want to use the drop weeks unless you have to. You know, the incident at Summit Point, yes, that's a drop week. But then you still have 3 of them left. Now for Teddy, now you're down to 2 left. There's another one that's coming to mind here that maybe you're now down to 1 left. And you still got a handful of weeks left in the season. We're not anywhere close to done yet.
No, there's a lot of time.
A lot of time. And the Charlotte Roval and Iowa Speedway still on the schedule.
Yeah, but at least it's not the Death Roval.
J.W. Miller having an issue here down towards turn number 1. Oh, just got a little bit loose on corner exit, clips the grass, loops the car around. Nice save, though, by J.W.
Yeah, great job to keep it out of the wall.
Have a handful of, we'll say, semi-tight battles here. This one between John Bedifer and Jay Vigo. This one at the front of the field still staying kind of pat right where it is. We've heard the comment before, Everett Paddock being this close and maybe saving some tires should probably be scaring these guys a little bit.
Yeah, Everett's just content to put around right here in third. Wait till probably 2-3 laps to go and then see if he can make his move.
Seeing Ziggy checking into the comments saying, Iowa, what road rating do I need to get to? Doesn't matter. It's your oval iRating that determines what split you end up in. iRacing made that change a couple of seasons ago at least. When a road series goes to the ovals, it now counts towards your oval iRating. Last lap time, Ed Samborski going fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 28.863. You almost wonder, is he saving a little bit here now too? It's still not the halfway point. That'll come next time by.
Yeah, we've mentioned this a lot in broadcasts over the season, but the best thing they can do right now is exactly what they're doing. Stay in a single file line, eat up laps, pull away from the cars behind, and then try to battle amongst yourselves.
Yeah, basically what Samborski and Paddock are doing is taking John Bedifer and Jay Vigo completely out of this race.
Uh-oh, looks like problems for Frank.
I was going to say, we got issues back in the pack here. Through the center S. See what happened to Frank Wynn here. Got it up onto the curb. Loops it around. Oh, big hit. Down to the inside. Unfortunately, that may cause a fair bit of damage here. We'll see if Frank Wynn's going to be able to get that car back to pit lane. But, yeah, to the point of, for Ed Samborski and Everett Paddock, if they want to have a shot at this, they need to keep those geodesic team cars out of that battle for the lead.
Yeah, keep them out of the battle and for Everett maximize points he can get out of it.
And there is a lot on offer here tonight. We mentioned the strength of field at a 38-16. That is pretty monster. Ted Burns will not leave here with the point lead tonight. It was a 4-point advantage over John Bedifer. You're talking a pretty significant swing here to the point that this will be a drop week now for Ted Burns.
Yeah. Ted's...
Even with heroics tomorrow in the European strength of field, you're still going to have, you're going to, pairing those two finishes up. A last place finish in a big SOF race is not where you want to be.
Ted, he's had a lot of bad results. Really needs to right the ship.
Yeah, Stephen Thompson checking in here. The oval iRating cutoff for Richmond was 2,200. Yes, the fields have been massive. We'll show you the license detail on this. How about two 7,000 iRating drivers in the top 5? And Everett Paddock is the low man of the top 5 at a 5,500 iRating. There are some names that we would normally expect to see that mid to the back of the pack run. Jason Owens did not make top split. Let's see who else was here. There were a couple of names that I went, whoa, we're not seeing these guys in here tonight. It's really going to be a deep field when you're not seeing some of those names.
Yeah, I had to do a double check too. I'm like, Jason? Where's Jason? Jason!
Ooh. At the front, Everett Paddock getting around Ed Samborski for second, and he is setting his sights on Graham Sanders for the race lead. We'll see if he makes the move here, and if not, we'll show you the replay quickly. Coming out of the Senna S, drag race down the, I guess, second straightaway. Paddock easily able to clear. That's now going to set up Everett Paddock having a chance to chase down Graham Sanders. And in all reality, when we're talking about saving tires here, you're talking about saving the equivalent of hundredths of a second. It's not like Everett is out here doing some, Scott Dixon type fuel saving or something. This is tiny little bits of tire management that really decide who wins these races at the end.
Yeah, it's really not much. Just a decision to not drive the car on the ragged edge as much as you would. Like treating it like a race, not like a qualifying run. Just easing it through, being nice on the gas, nice on the brakes, not sliding it around too much. And that could prove the difference. And that may be the difference in the championship.
I'll tell you what, Everett makes up a ton of ground through those 2-3 middle sectors of the racetrack. I mean, we're seeing it. The lead is down now to a quarter of a second. Everett Paddock is right there. Graham Sanders getting a little bit better drive off the corner. Apexed it a little bit closer to the far inside. Almost seems like Graham is really letting the car just flow a little bit more.
Yeah, and Everett seems to be a lot harder on corner entry. And you see, he makes up a ton of ground there, but it just loses it on exit.
Oh, 902-1 owned. No sliding in and out, but that was my ex-wife's favorite move.
I'm not going to touch that one.
I'm not even going near that one. How about Paddock having a look up the outside? He'll have the better line through two. Big time battle, and this is going to allow Betafer and Vigo to catch right back up. Samborski going to tuck in line with Graham Sanders. Sanders had to take the inside lane to protect the dive bomb into the corner. That allowed Paddock to stay right there. And it's now a 5-car battle for the win. Samborski went from tailing along to having to fend off John Betafer.
Oh, boy.
The reinforcements have arrived for Graham Sanders. We'll see if it's going to matter, though. They'll be down to 6 laps remaining next time by the flag stand. Top 5 all in the shot. Sanders, Paddock, Samborski, Betafer, and Vigo. This group has checked out on Nicholas Daly. 4 3/4 seconds back to 6th place. Here comes Paddock up the outside. Going to try it again. Dives down into turn 1. Back to the inside for 2. Sanders will have the line through 3. Paddock will lose second to Samborski. Now Samborski going for the race lead. How about that 2-for-1 in a couple of corners? Let's do pace laps. What do you think here? Full throttle, balls out pace laps at Interlagos. We'll take it. Sanders back through to the race lead. Samborski now finally able to slam the door closed on Everett Paddock. Everybody gets back in line. They're going to play nice through the middle sectors. And then they'll go right back to trying to beat each other's brains in as we get to the quick sections.
I don't even know what to say. Like, I don't even want to pipe up and interrupt this battle. This is amazing what we're watching here.
You would tend to think here that Paddock is going to get a very big run, both with the draft push from behind. Fight for the lead. Back to one. Samborski and Sanders. Oh, and Samborski. Samborski goes around. Everett Paddock goes around as well. Oh, my goodness. Reset the field here. It is all geodesic at the front. Graham Sanders, John Badeford, Jay Vigo. Nicholas Daly has now come around. Samborski and Paddock to run in the 4th position. Ed Samborski, Everett Paddock were just battling for the race win, now fighting for 5th and 6th. Take a look at the run down into turn 1 here. Maybe a little bit of contact. Let's get it, the look from the overhead, and then we'll show you what happened to Everett Paddock here. Oh, yeah, there was contact, and Sanders was very wide on the corner. Now, here's the overhead of what happened to Everett Paddock. That one may have been a little bit of net code, but still contact, sending Everett Paddock around. There's been a lot of discussion of what is and is not protestable contact. Oh, man, I don't know. Especially the first one with Graham Sanders and Ed Samborski. Sanders was definitely wide at the midpoint of the corner, but that doesn't mean he was intentionally wide.
No, I don't, realistically, I don't think any of those incidents are protestable. Honestly, those just look like racing deals. You know, you're driving that hard, racing that hard for the race win. Sometimes incidents like that just happen. It's unfortunate, and you hate seeing it, but, like, I really don't think you can, put any malice into it. It's just one of those deals.
Ed Samborski's car looks okay, but Everett Paddock, he may have some damage here because that car is nowhere close to as quick as it was before the contact. Go back to the front here. Graham Sanders, John Badeford, Jay Vigo. I tend to agree here with Mike McCullen. Those look like racing deals to me. I hate to use the phrase that it's just a racing deal because ultimately if there's contact, both drivers had a hand in it. Unless it's like obviously running someone over. The reality is you could have backed out. You could have lived to fight another lap. But you chose to make the move when you did, and the choices these drivers have made is put Team Geodesic right back here at the front of the field. And, oh, Michael Joseph, thank you, sir. James has come down from his high and has his feet planted on the earth. Jay Vigo set the fastest lap of the race last time around, 1 minute 28.7 to 5.0. Continuing to drop that number down to 3 to go. In fact, call it 2 1/3 laps to go here at Interlagos. I'll tell you what, there's a lot this season, James. In Europe, I believe they call it argy-bargy. Here in the U.S., we call it a game of grab-ass. These guys are not afraid to make contact and run tight with each other.
Nah, it's kind of fun from a broadcaster and a fan perspective. You love watching good hard racing like this. You hate it when there is serious contact and it ends in a spin or end of day, but you love watching these guys just elbows up with each other. That's the thing that's lacking in a lot of other forms of motorsports out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of fear of putting the elbows up or people getting called out for running with the elbows out. This is one of those deals. I would not be surprised to hear that there were protests filed, but at the same time, just because you file one doesn't mean you're going to win it. And this has been, quite frankly, this has been a lot of fun. A lot of good, hard side-by-side racing.
Yeah, this is a blast.
Fastest lap of the group last time by, John Bedifer, 1 minute 28.996. They are staying right on top of each other inside the top 3 here. You wonder, could you see some team orders come into play here? I don't think Graham Sanders would let John Bedifer by for a win, but I don't know how difficult he would make it either. Bedifer is in contention for a championship. Sanders about 400 or so points back. Oh, and there it is.
Ooh, I don't think so.
I was going to say, they're not playing nice. Sanders covered the inside lane, chops Bedifer off as they get to turn number 1. Three geodesic cars all in a line. Ed Samborski has gotten around Nicholas Daly for 4th. He potentially stands to score a podium tonight if these 3 cars don't make it across the start-finish line. Bedifer once again has the peak on Sanders. Now making their way through the middle infield section of the race course. I love that camera angle. Really shows you the elevation change at this place. One of the harder things about this racetrack is you're just perpetually up and down.
See what type of run John can get.
Say, through the final couple of corners, they'll be coming to the start-finish line. Sanders going to cover the line. Checkered flag will go in the air. Where does Bedifer make the move? The drag race down to the line. Checkers in the air. Graham Sanders gets the win over John Bedifer.
Gotta see a replay of that. That had to be ridiculously close. Oh my god.
Yeah, how about less than a tenth separating these two? Let's go back to the chopper for the look again here. Oh my goodness, that was tight. Back that up, and let's grab a different camera here. We got to see this one a little bit closer. Oh my goodness. There we go. We'll give you this one. Look at the line. There it is. My goodness. That was a side-by-side drag race. a fantastic finish to tonight's race here at Interlagos. Let's show you the race results as we get ready to queue up the victory lane interviews here. Graham Sanders getting the win over John Badifer by 10,000ths of a second. 1/10,000th of a second. Jay Vigo comes home third, about a third of a second back. Ed Samborski and Nicholas Daly round out your top 5. 6 through 10 were Chris Preston, Everett Paddock, Kylo Ciacelli, Nagisa Yoshikawa, and Andrew Berry. 11 to 15, David Porcelli, Kalen Martin, Christopher Chitterling, Steve Jenks, and Rod Eskew. Back through 20th, Frank Wynn, Enzo Johansson, Russ Addy, J.W. Miller, and Mike Carpenter. 21st position tonight, Brian Labarge. 22nd, Mike Holler. And Ted Burns comes home 23rd and last in tonight's race. Very, very surprising run there. Let's take a look here and see. Still don't have anybody yet to talk to. There we go. Now we're starting to see them roll in here. We will start off our Victory Lane interviews tonight with our second place finisher. Mr. John Badifer, and I'll tell you what here, bud, that was epic, crazy, intense. Tell us kind of what you were seeing here as we got down to just a couple of laps to go.
Yeah, it was intense for sure. I think the last couple of laps weren't as intense only because we were kind of parading around for a little bit to the last lap, but I tried my best to get a good run on Graham out of the last corner and one 100th, so it was close.
Yeah, we called it a 10,000th of a second here, or a couple of 10 thousandths, whatever it is. Absolutely unreal finish, but you go back a couple of laps prior to that, there was some very hard racing. Ed Samborski having a bit of an off-track, Everett Paddock having one, Ted Burns with a monster shot up inside of you guys heading off towards turn 1. This race had a little bit of everything in terms of intensity, contact, and then obviously the good clean show we saw at the end as well.
Yeah, it was I think Graham just overdrove the turn 1 just a tad bit, and just barely tapped Ed, and then with me and Everett, it was definitely netcode, and I think I gave him all the space I could, but yeah, overall the whole race, guys were definitely holding you tight through the fast corners, trying to pinch you in, because it's just we're all so close here, so it's just those fine margins help you out that little bit, and it just, when you're online racing, sometimes that comes back to get you a little bit.
Yeah, that's one of those deals that there's sort of no way around it. Eventually, at some point, the computers are going to decide you've made contact, whether you've actually done it or not. But all in all, you really come out with a big points night here. Ted having his issues. This is really how you want to kick off that last stretch of the season here as we head to some really pretty fast racetracks.
Yeah, I absolutely love this track. It's my favorite on the service. So it was a lot of fun getting to race here in the Indy Pro, and then looking forward to Charlotte Roval next week too. So.
All right, buddy. Well, John, congratulations on a runner-up finish here tonight, and let's get all the sponsor plugs and thank yous in before we let you out of here.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Wave Italy, Omlegato, and GSI as usual, and then all the guys at Geo. We had a pretty good turnout here tonight, so it was a lot of fun.
All right, bud. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate you hanging out with us here. And let's bring in our race winner tonight, Graham Sanders. I'll tell you what, bud, you guys had a hell of a show going on here throughout this race. It was a ton of fun to watch. You, Everett, John, Jay, Ed, the whole top 5 was really impressive here tonight.
Yeah, that was a really fun race. Unfortunately, the battles didn't last the whole race. I just want to apologize to Edward. I feel terrible about that one. I just broke it just a little bit too deep. I wanted to try and stay up next to him going into turn 1, and I just locked up that inside wheel and unfortunately tapped him. So Apologies to him, but yeah, that was really intense. A lot of side by side battling, and it was a blast.
Heading into the last couple of corners, did you sort of feel like a sitting duck a little bit, knowing the run that John and Jay were going to potentially have on you?
No, definitely, because we're all on the same setup, on the same wing. So I knew for a fact that they could definitely get a really easy run on me. And as we saw there on the last lap, it came down to what 10 thousandths. So it was pretty nerve wracking.
This one was a lot of fun here tonight, and this was a very big points night for you. I mean, we said you're out of points contention for a championship, but doesn't mean a top 5 is out of the cards. In fact, not far out of 5th entering the night. These kinds of big SOF wins are really what propel teammates up into, having 2, 3, 4 cars inside the top 10.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not sure which races I missed earlier this season. I was out of town for a couple of rounds. So yeah, I just got to try and get those big points hauls and try and close that gap.
All right, bud. Well, congratulations once again on the win. Let's make sure we get all the sponsor plugs and thank yous in before we let you out of here.
Yeah, thank you, man. I just want to thank all the guys at over at the team Geodesic, all the sponsors, Wave Italy, GoPro, Alpine Stars, and of course you guys for the broadcast. It was I'm looking forward to watching to it. Thank you.
All right, Graham. Thank you very much, bud. We appreciate it. And I'll tell you what, James, as we get ready to wrap things up here, we'll run through some of the comments. SDS checking in at the last lap saying, Sanders rightfully starting to defend corners. And that really was kind of it. An interesting comment here from Stephen Thompson coming up saying, I think if John kept the car straight, he would have been closer on the finish. The swerve to the right at the end might have been the 1/100th of a difference. That really is the difference. This is not the first time we've seen it this season or in the last couple of seasons. You almost have to be perfect to win one of these USF 2000 races. Or Indy Pro 2000, I should say.
Yeah, we aren't doing both. Yeah, definitely. Steven is definitely right. That little swing he did cost him some time. And if he keeps it straight with how close it was, I think he might have been able to get Graham at the line if he didn't do that. But again, who really knows if I'm right or not? Probably not. But yeah, still another fantastic race, another fun week. Like, I don't think we've had a single boring race this entire season.
Yeah, there has not been a race yet, not even Spa, which can sometimes get a little strung out. Spa was fantastic. Phoenix, obviously, is the oval. Those ones are always good. Brands was good. Sebring was incredible. And now we're going to round out the season, heading to the Charlotte Roval, the Red Bull Ring, Iowa Speedway, and Road Atlanta. Road Atlanta is a draft track. Iowa is a pack race draft track. Charlotte is very much a draft track. And then a little bit of a bull ring there, heading off to Austria in the Red Bull Ring. This schedule is shaping up to be absolutely fantastic down the stretch.
So what you're saying is more chaos.
It's what it sounds like.
Yes. Sign me up.
I say I can get behind big-time chaos here late in this season, and seeing an early draft release of next season's schedule, we got some doozies that are coming up here, James. Possibly a return to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. There's a lot to look forward to as we get ready for 2022 Season 2, but taking a look at the updated points after tonight's race, John Bedifer now holding a 98 point lead over Ted Burns, 1457 to 1365. Everett Paddock still third at 1244, 1182 for David Porcelli in fourth, Nagisa Yoshikawa 1089 in fifth, Graham Sanders all the way up to sixth at 1031. The more drop weeks we see counted, the tighter this could potentially become here, because Ted obviously lost a bunch of points tonight. but that just turns us into a drop week as we start to factor those in. We really won't know until the final lap of the season here who's going to win this championship.
Nope, and that's exactly what you want to see now, isn't it?
I was going to say, that's the kind of fight that we want to see week in and week out. This one has been a ton of fun, and we are wrapping up our coverage for the week. Coming up next week, Monday night, it will be the Silver Crowns. Tuesday night, we are possibly on the air with the Snydersville Raceway Tear It Up Tuesday series. They are getting down to the very late parts of their season. Depending on car count, we may be on the air with them Tuesday night. Wednesday, the Sim Racers Club is back after their week off. Thursday night, the Indy Pro 2000 Championship. Right back here on the National Racing Network. This one's been a ton of fun, and we are looking forward to enjoying a little bit of quiet and the dumpster fire that's going to be the Busch Light Clash at the Coliseum coming up Sunday night for the NASCAR Cup Series. With that, we are getting out of here. For James Watson and everybody here at NRN, my name is Chris Graham. It's been a pleasure having you hang out with us. We will talk to you all soon. Have a great night, everybody.